Okay, you guys have been doing an awesome job. I've flown back just to make sure that you guys learn this one lesson here, median line. It's not really fair to have one of the groups do this because it's actually pretty tough. We're going to imagine that we're going to compare the number of minutes you spent studying and the score you got on a test, and to see if there's any trend in that data. So I've made up some points. They're pretty realistic based on my experience as a teacher, but it's minutes you spend studying versus the points you get on a test. All right, so the data's over here. Someone spent 50 minutes studying and got a 61 in the test. That was not real strong, but that happens. The next person only spent 40 minutes studying and did actually slightly better, but that can happen. Someone spent 130 minutes and got a 92, 75, and got a 76, 67, and got a 60, 100 minutes and got an 85, 123 minutes and got a 92, and then 123 and got a 92, and then this is our last data point, 111 and got an 86. So I don't know if you can see all those data points, but that's basically the idea. There are my 8 data points. Now we're finding what's called a median line, and this is a way, kind of without using a fancy calculator, to get a basic mathematical idea for the slope, the trend of that line, the slope and the intercept. What you start by doing is drawing 2 vertical lines that are going to divide these data points up into 3 approximately equal. They must be approximately equal, as close to equal as possible, but also symmetrical. So in this case, with 8 data points, how would you do that? Approximately equal, but symmetrical. All right? You think about that. Well, you paused it, you came back maybe. You could do it 2 and 4 and 2, and that would give you 8. But it's better to do 3 like this, and then 2, and then 3. So with 3 data points, 2 data points, and 3 data points, it's approximately equal, and it is symmetrical based on the idea that it's equal on either side. All right? So now what I do is I find the summary point for each of my zones, each of my 3 zones. And a summary point is just the middle x score and the middle y score. So I look at these 3 data points. It's the ones that are all below 60. So that's these and this one right here. And I've got scores of 61, 60, and 65 for my y values. So my y summary point is the middle score there, and that's 61. And then I look at the x scores for those same, and those are 50, 40, and 67. So my middle score is 50. That's my summary point number 1. All right? I do the same thing for these 2 points, and my middle score there is going to be my average of those 2. So that's the one that are in the 80s. That's 76 and 85. So the average of 76 and 85 is going to be 80.5, and then my average of the y's will be my average of the x's between 75 and 100 is going to be 87.5. So not pretty numbers, we can handle those decimals. The final 3 points then, once I've done that one and that one, are going to be the people that studied and got scores between 92s and 86s. Well, I throw out the 92 and the 86, and my middle score is a 92 for my y. And then I go to the middle value of my x's, and that's 123. I throw out 111 and 130, so it's 123 for my minutes studied. All right? So those are my 3 summary points, and I can plot those. I'm not going to, well, I see 50, 61. I guess I could do that really quickly with, there's one summary point. 87 and 80 is going to be about there. And then my final one, 123, 92, is really close to my other one. All right? So those are my 3 summary points. Now my final step is, well, 2 more steps. I find the slope that goes through these, okay? I find the slope that goes through those, and that's just rise and run. So I'm going to subtract my y's from 92 to 61. That's a rise of 31. and I have a run of 73. It's not a pretty slope, but you don't expect data to always work out perfectly. That's my slope. And then what I do is I just average my x values. I put that in a calculator and I add it to that, and I add it to that, and I divide by 3. That's the mean of the x's. And I'm not going to do that, but you can do that. And that will give me my x mean. I'm going to use that symbol. And then I do the same thing with the y's. I add those up and divide those by 3, and I get the y mean. And now I've got a slope and a point. And I'm going to use point slope form. So the equation of that, of the blue line there, the equation of the line that comes closest to matching the trend of that data is just going to be, I'll write it down here, it would be y minus the y mean that I found. And that's going to equal m, my slope, 31 over 73 times x minus the x mean that I found right there. All right? Slope, point slope form. Oops, actually, I'm sorry, I'm just writing too quickly. Put the means first, all right? Put the actual hard numbers first and the variable second. I apologize, but that's the way you do it, all right? So check it out in the book. Thanks.